Hi guys, we have special guest Samantha Poland of J&S Nails, J&S Braids, all things J&S.
Hello.
Disclaimer everyone, we've been friends since the 7th grade because she didn't have no other friends. So I just took her under my wing and held tight. So anyway, today we're gonna be talking about ripping off the band-aid. Like, and I mean like in all aspects of life. I think that like earlier this year for me personally, I went through my very first heartbreak. And that heartbreak made me like really stop and evaluate my own level of like self-love and self-confidence and just my own overall comfort with myself as a woman and my identity. And I think that like it wasn't until that person like kind of made me stop and be like, wait a minute. If I love myself, why am I accepting the things that I'm accepting? If I'm confident with myself as a woman and what I bring to myself, to the table, to my partner, why am I allowing someone to give me less? So it's like, have you ever had moments where you felt like you were accepting less? And what did you do?
Ooh. Before I learned, I just accepted a lot of things. Um, and there were moments where it was like, okay, I don't really want to be the person to like hurt somebody's feelings, or I don't want to be the bad guy, I guess, in the situation. And it was more so me putting myself aside for somebody else. Once I got to a point where I was like, okay, listen, that's gonna be a no. That don't work for me. I was like more so trying to get that person to see it wasn't me trying to hurt them as much as it was me showing them how much I cared about them, and this being for the better interest of them more than it being in the best interest for myself. Um, and I think once I got to that point, it made it easier to just be like, okay, listen, life's too short. I don't have time to sugarcoat shit. This is kind of what it is. So, hey. And then just go from there. Like, I'd rather just say what I have to say and deal with what may or may not come than to not say it and then deal with the whole, well, what if I had? So, I'm more of a ask for forgiveness later than to ask for your permission first type shit. In all
It's
honesty.
so crazy you say that because like this person, like when we were first like, getting into this whole dating thing, they asked me, was I the kind of person who preferred someone to ask for permission or ask for forgiveness? And we had this like long discussion, and I'm like, well, I would just hope that they wouldn't put me in situations where they had to give permission or forgiveness. And the reality is that in life, you're like always either asking for the other, especially when you're in a relationship, when you're in a marriage, when you're in a friendship, because it's like inevitably you're going to have to do things that may or may not hurt another person. That's
No,
just the way life is. And I feel
it's either,
like because
go ahead.
I was gonna say like because like life is the way that it is, I think that it's just kind of like you have to live your life how you see fit. And at the end of the day, whatever the person's gonna do is what they're gonna do. And like I was like one of those people, especially when the situation ended for me, where it was like I was realizing that I was exactly what you were saying. I was like, I didn't want to be the bad guy. I didn't want to be the person to like never speak to me again because you crossed my boundary. I was consistently like being that person who was like, okay, this is the boundary. And then they cross it. And I'm like, okay, let me scoot it back just a little bit so that way you don't cross this boundary. It's like, oh, wait, they crossed that one too. And so it was just like me consistently saying that, okay, I'm not going to allow you to do this to me while allowing someone to do things to me that I wasn't okay with. And I think that once I got to a place where I was like, I have to prioritize myself because it's like I can't like they're gonna prioritize themselves. I'm prioritizing them. So who's gonna prioritize me?
I agree all day.
Then like also I feel like a major thing that I went through with like going through my first heartbreak was I was like whenever I would tell my friends or people are like, girl, you gotta be with somebody else. Just let them go and be with somebody else. Talk to somebody else. Meet someone new. I'm not gonna say any names. was saying like meet someone else, someone new. And so I was like, I was really, really, really wanting to get to this place of like wanting to talk to multiple men at once, wanting to like really, really date because I've never ever done that. Like it was something I mean, I've talked to one guy at a time and I put all of my eggs in their basket and then they drop my basket. They throw my look, they punt my basket like a football player. So anyway, I was saying that like I wanted to like start dating multiple people and just really, really having that experience. But I feel like I never really knew how. And I was always so worried about what someone else would say about me doing that or how that might look to other people. And it's like I think that like there's like this coin term having a whole phase.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I feel like I don't want to like put that like slut shamey identity on it.
I agree.
And so, but it's just like it was like this thing that I really, really wanted to do. But I've always been like super scared of joining like dating sites and things like that, especially because I've had a catfish experience. To not gonna get into that's a story for another day. But
I feel it.
like so I've always been super scared and it's like a guy isn't gonna break into my house. So
I hate
where do you
shame.
come from? So what are your thoughts about getting into this like what's another word we can use instead of saying whole face? Because I really don't want to slut shame. It's like I feel like men have whole faces for like when they're 50 into their 50s and 60s and they're not calling it that. So
Um, okay, so like I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't consider it a whole phase
yeah.
because developing. But no, for real. Like, okay, I was at a point where just getting out of a long-term relationship, not necessarily ready to be in a relationship with anybody else. And I was what, like 20, 19, 20. And so it was like, okay, I would chill with this person. They would come and smoke with me, or whatever, just chill. And then I was like, okay, you're boring or not really interested. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna text this person. And it's like, you can go goodbye. And then I will leave with this person. And my sisters would talk so much shit, but it's I didn't feel the need to disclose what I was or was not doing with other people because it was nobody else's business but my own. And if I chose to do something with somebody, as long as I was being safe and protected myself, however that may have been, then I didn't really care what anybody else thought. And it was none of anybody else's business. To most and to many, the whole phase, you know? But to me, that's not what it was. I wasn't sucking and fucking on everything that I talked to, but I would kick it with a bunch of different people. And so I guess I had a list or a roster at that time, but I was young and single, and it was so many opportunities. Like you turn the corner and motherfuckers like, hey, and I was like, oh dang, hi, I am cute. And that was a confidence booster in itself for me. Um, and then that's how I ended up meeting my daughter's father.
So in going along with the ripping off the band-aid thing, I think earlier you were saying that you had your first relationship with a woman, you guys lived together, you guys like cohabitated and just were in love. So like going through that experience, how did you find ways to get through it or get past like those feelings that you have for that person? Because I think a major thing for me was like I feel like your parents can teach you a lot of things, but they can't teach you how to get over your first heartbreak. Like they can't live through it for you.
Um, I'm not gonna lie. So when that situation ended, oh my gosh, it was so hard. I was in a whole nother state, no family, no friends, no nothing. And granted, like they weren't my family, everybody wasn't like super far away, but
Mm-hmm.
I was still so alone. And oh my gosh, when it ended, I became known as the hour hustler at my job. Like I just
What's an
like
hour hustler?
just anybody Anybody call off, call me. Anybody late, no show, call me. You need somebody to come in, don't care what time, call me. I'm coming in, I
I would
don't
have
care.
been our hustler.
Like I worked at a grocery store, granted, but like I was 19, and that kind of helped me just not think about her, I guess. I just needed something to distract me. Um,
Right.
and so for the longest time, it was work. And then met a younger person, and it was just fun. Like, no, nothing serious. No, I had to care about that person's feelings. That person had to care about my feelings. None of that. Like, it was just you do you, I do me. You just chill, like, and just enjoy the time. Other than that, I just worked, and then when I just got tired, I ended up moving back to Chicago, and that's when my developmental stage started.
So I guess I also wanted to ask you, like, I'm starting a self-care journey. And one of the major things on this journey is like finding ways to treat myself in ways that I want other people to treat me. So that way, when the person that I do meet or the person that I do want to date comes along, the only thing that whatever they're giving to me is not the only thing that I have. It's supplemental because I'm already loving myself. I'm already feeding my love languages. So I wanted to ask you, what are ways that you're feeding your love languages, and how do you be consistent in doing that?
One of them is just writing. Um, and then another part of that is just my nails and having that creative um, outlet gives me time to just be out of zone, like just be in me, and enjoy whatever it is that I'm doing. And like, other than that, I will just take a day and be selfish because I've learned that I have to do that. I have to be selfish. And so it's like, no, don't talk to me. Don't say anything to me. I don't exist to you. I'm not here. I've changed my name. Whatever it is that I have to say to my house for them to not, like, I want to be Casper. I don't want to be seen.
The not so friendly ghost.
Yeah, the cats were not so friendly ghosts. Like, I'm not with, don't. But, and then it's like, I will do a mask on myself, and I will do my eyebrows, and I will do my nails and my feet and whatever, and just take care of me for that day and not be bothered by anybody else. And I won't even answer my phone, like not a text message, not a phone call. I don't want to be bothered. I don't even want to exist on this planet to anybody for at least 12 hours of that day.
That sounds amazing. Self care is always so important. I feel like self care is always so important. And it looks different to everybody, you know? So, like, having that time, like, your self care might be just like, having, or like your love language, like, we were talking about feeding love languages. I think maybe, like, from the sounds of it, a major love language for you is like, there's like time. And it's like you having that time to yourself is what's important. Like, you having intimate time with yourself, whether it's doing your nails or your hair or your eyebrows or your journal, having that intimate time. And I love that. I love that you have that thing that you like, you understand what you need for yourself and you're able to give that to yourself. I think so many times, especially for African American women, we get so wrapped up in our family dynamics that we forget about ourselves and we put ourselves last and we run ourselves like a racehorse, trying to be so present for everybody else that we're not doing it for ourselves. So I love that you're like, I know what I need. I know it's time to myself.
Yeah, I definitely agree that us as Black women have this sort of standard where we feel that we have to be and do everything and for every,
Super.
and yeah, and it's a lot, and there's also that pressure to be that from everybody, and it's like almost expected of us. And so I don't even, I can't remember when it was, but I had saw this thing or heard this thing. I can't remember, but it was basically stating like, if you continue to give what you have and no one is giving into you, then at the end, what do you have to give once you've given it
Nothing.
all? And
Gotcha.
it's like, I don't want that. And I ask the same in relationship. Like, it's like, if I'm pouring my all into you and no one is pouring into me, once my pot is empty, what the fuck, who is gonna, like, what's happening here? And so that part had made it very clear. Like, it was like, no, I have to take time to be able to feed myself, because if I don't, then I have nothing to feed the people around me. And if there is nothing in me to feed them, then how are they to survive? So it definitely plays a role, for sure.
Amen.
For sure.
Well, thank you so much for coming today, girl, to this little chat, this little hangout. I really appreciate you being here and talking about ripping off the band-aid with me,
Yeah,
talking about
for
ways that you love on yourself, being self-care, and just getting over heartbreak. Because I think that the biggest heartbreak that most people have is with themselves.
hmm
I think that, like, a lot of times, I know, especially for myself, my biggest heartbreaking is of the situation, or what made the situation so heartbreaking for me was that I allowed so many things
yeah,
and I accepted so much just to
for
be
sure.
with this other person, and they consistently put me in situations that made me not act in ways that would have been in character.
Yeah, for sure.
So I appreciate you being here and having this chat with me. Again, everybody, this is Samantha Poland of JNS Braids, JNS Nails. If you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, if you're on TikTok, check out JNS Nails, JNS Braids. And if you're in the Minnesota area, come get laid, baby.
Thank you.
Bye.